A lovely meter. Use it when I'm going on holidays. It's absolutely fantastic for that. It's highly compact. It has a nice little case, and the leads very cleverly wrap round the outside. It has a dial on the front then that enables me to select different things, and across the top volts, amps, AC, DC, and so it's a nice little gizmo to take on holiday. Unfortunately, it has one drawback, and that quite simply is it doesn't have auto shut off, and I am not the world's best person for turning things off. So as I only take it on holiday, every time I come across it and want to use it, I find that the battery inside is dead. And yes, it is a battery because it's 12 volts. Oops, where are we going? It's this particular little gizmo. It's got a, not going to see this at all, are we? But never mind. It says it's an L1028, or on the side it says it's a what? I don't know if you can see that. An 23A 12 volt battery. Not exactly the most common type to come across when you're out and about. You can get them in pound shops, but they usually come in packs with other cells or other batteries, and therefore when I buy these I end up with all these spares that I don't really want. Of course, the obvious thing to do would be to take the battery out every time I've finished using the meter and store it separately, and then, or even turn the meter off, I suppose. But that's not the way I work. So what I decided to do was to replace the cell or the battery in it with lithium cells. Now, as the battery that comes with it is 12 volts and lithium cells are normally 3-4 volts, then it was going to take 3 or 4 lithium cells to 3 lithium cells, not 3 or 4, 3 lithium cells to replace the 12 volts. It seems to work all right. So what I want to do is to take it apart and show how I put the cells inside. It did have 2 screws on the back to undo it, one at the top, which we can undo here hopefully if we had a decent screwdriver. Not too sure that's working. Yes, it is, it's working. Take the screw out. Problem of cheapo screwdrivers is they tend to square off. I don't know if you can see that, or round off, making them difficult to use. So there with one screw. Now it did have another screw down at the bottom, but I've had to remove that to the side so that I can get the cells in, the lithium cells inside. So if we can get that screw out. I've also brought the wires out at the side here. They did come out down at the bottom, but it seemed easier if they came out at the side. The thing itself is very nice because it is, or was, 2 separate units that are sealed all the way around, but so that I could get my cells in, I had to remove part of the seal round here. So I wouldn't use it on 240 volts anyway, or any high voltages. Here you can see one of the 3 cells I put inside. What we've got is a 3.7 volt, it says, 200 milliamp hours, which I'd take with a pinch of salt, and the actual thing is a 30-25-30. So if I take these out, you can see that I've managed to fit 3 into this little hole, taking a lot of time just to clean out where this had. It actually had a proper holder there for it, and then the wires came out the bottom, but I've taken them out the side to leave room for my adapter. So the 3 cells then are all protected, which is good, and I bring them out to these 0.1 connectors. For my sins, I didn't use the middle pin, I used 3 pins, and then I built this little plug that goes on the end, so I can unplug that, and each of these can then be charged separately. I don't like charging them in groups of 3, as I feel even with balanced charging, so-called, it isn't a good idea, and often the charge is just cut off when the first one reaches 4.2 volts, and then when we're using it, the internal protection cuts off when the first one reaches something like 3.2 volts, which isn't, in my opinion, very good. So there's my little plug, just 3 connectors onto which these go. Of course, I've got to be very careful how I do this, because if I connect it up wrong, then there's a good chance that it's going to have problems. So how have I wired it? Well, if we look at a little drawing, go through it, what have I got? Have I got a pencil? A pencil would be nice, wouldn't it? Yep, there's a pencil. So what have I got? Well, I've got my 3, if we have, imagine that these are the 3 female plugs which go to the, so they'll be across there, so these come from the cells. And I've built my plug, which is sort of, put it over here, so this then essentially is 2 connectors like so. Each one has 3 pins on it. These are the backs of the pins. So the way I've done it is to have a positive perhaps coming out, this one positive, so that sticks out positive, which goes into the positive on that. This one also is positive, so that goes into there, and this one is positive, so that one would go into there. Then I've got the negative parts, or the 0 volt part should I say. So I have 0 volts there, 0 volts there, and 0 volts there. So this one here is going to be 0 volts, this one 0 volts, and this one 0 volts. The power then is going to the meter, come out here, so that's 0 volts. As I've done it then, this would be 4 volts, but that's not going anywhere, so I need it to go somewhere, and it needs to connect onto the one above. So what I'm doing is connecting that onto there, so this is 4 volts as well. That then comes across to here, so that's 4 volts. That's got to add another cell to it, so that's going to be 8 volts. So I need to connect that to the top one, and then this lead here can go off to my meter again, and that's going to be 12 volts. This then I've just glued together, and it just fits in to the 3 cells. So the top one's negative, the bottom one's negative. Perhaps we ought to draw that in and that in, so we can see that these are 3 separate pieces and this plug then plugs into those 3 separate pieces. Of course, if I wasn't careful how I was doing it, I could turn this 90 degrees and plug it in and it would connect across here, but that shouldn't really be a problem because it isn't connected to the middle one, so it just wouldn't work. So yeah, that's what I've done. That's my device that enables me to recharge the cells that are inside this meter. So now when I go away, at least if I leave it on, the cells themselves have stopped working at 3.2 volts, so they won't completely collapse because of the protection circuit, and I can recharge them even if I leave the meter on. Yeah, so it's bye now. Bye.